This is 1 gram of sugar. It's not much. In fact, your brain alone burns about 10 times this amount every hour. But what happens if you double it? 2 grams, 4, 8, 16, and just keep going and going. At some point, it stops being a sweet treat and becomes syrupy torture. This video explores a strange experiment. I'll start with just 1 gram of carbs in my first meal, and then I'll double it each meal after that until I physically can't. Why would I do such a thing? Well, I don't actually know yet. But by the end of this video, I'll have learned something. Because carbohydrates aren't just hedonistic mouth pleasure, they're fuel. And in this experiment, I'm gonna test what happens when you punch the gas pedal through the floor. Day number 1 of doubling my carbs every meal until I physically can't anymore. Let's get started with my first breakfast. 1 gram of carbs. Well, my plan was to have eggs and then for my single carb have a pickle for breakfast. But I just started plugging it in and turns out eggs contain carbs. Who knew that? So I can't even go crazy on the eggs. Just 2 eggs this morning, big slab of butter at least, and that's my breakfast. This first meal was 207 calories with 1 gram of carbs, 17 grams of fat, and 12.5 grams of protein. Well, slightly disappointing that eggs have carbs. Who knew that? But good breakfast regardless. I'm gonna go get a little workout in, then head off to work.
Who would have guessed that eggs have carbs? That's ridiculous. That pickle really would have completed the breakfast this morning, but at least I get 2 grams of carbs at lunch. Time for lunch. I'm excited to eat, but this meal is gonna drop a nuclear bomb on my breath. I have first 100 grams of salami and 2 cans of sardines. There's a reason I'm eating this in my car. Just plain sardines in water. Hopefully they fuel me well. This salami was from a really expensive fancy butcher shop. So, let's see how it tastes. Delicious. Feeling pretty good so far on this low carb diet, but tonight I've got a hectic workout schedule, jiu-jitsu class, a floor hockey game, and potentially even a run thrown in there. So hopefully this energy keeps going. This meal is only 1 gram of carb. So in order to double it for my breakfast, I'm gonna go get a cup of tea after this and put exactly 1 gram of sugar in there. We'll see how good I am at eyeballing exactly 1 gram. That fatty lunch fueled me through an after-work run. Then I was off to jiu-jitsu, followed by my floor hockey game. Well, had a pretty great floor hockey game, even though we ended up losing. Score was 9-6 or something like that. I blew out my shoe. Vivo, what's going on with that? Got to order new shoes. Ended up getting a couple goals, had a lot of fun. Now it's time to get home, eat my 4 grams of carbs. I started off my dinner with a jalapeno sausage while I was cooking up some steaks, and I did a little math to figure out how to best spend my 4 grams of carbs. This was a strange combination, however it was delicious and refueled me perfectly. This dinner was 777 calories with 4 grams of carbs, 45 grams of fat, and 68 grams of protein. Day 1 complete, actually a really satisfying dinner. That steak hit the spot, and I got another one tomorrow for lunch. On day number 1, I ate 1,754 calories with 7 grams of carbs, 120 grams of fat, and 167 grams of protein. Well, after a full day of keto yesterday, it's time to continue this morning, but this time with 8 grams of carbs. I doubled up yesterday's keto breakfast and added a few extra sides for a delicious 452 calorie breakfast with 8 grams of carbs, 33 grams of fat, and 33 grams of protein. For lunch, I had another steak and I added in a kiwi to get me to the right amount of carbs. This meal was 689 calories with 16 grams of carbs, 33 grams of fat, and 80 grams of protein. Well, it is crazy how good fruit tastes after you've cut out carbs for a day and a half. That kiwi was incredible. But I'm all done work and I want to go for a run. Unfortunately, my running shoes have been destroyed, so I'm gonna be going for a barefoot run today. A bit slower than my usual run, but still got it done. Despite 2 full days with not much more than a kiwi in terms of carbs, my workouts were not suffering. Successful training session, but I am due for some carbs. My beautiful wife is cooking up some meat and rice there. I'm not gonna have any rice though, going for more volume. Half a bag of this salad, that's only gonna be 10 grams of carbs. So for the rest, the extra 22,
I'm gonna make my own homemade dressing with honey. Meal number 6, and the carbs are officially back, baby. 32 grams. I'm excited for this. This meal was extremely satisfying and clocked in at just over 1,000 calories, with 32 grams of carbs, 78 grams of fat, and 44 grams of protein. Incredible dinner, very filling. Now I need to plan out what I'm gonna have tomorrow, because we have 3 big carb meals, back to back to back. I'm excited for that. Food's all planned for tomorrow. I'm pumped to get some carbs back into me. Low carb is not that fun. On day number 2, I ate 2,139 calories with 56 grams of carbs, 144 grams of fat, and 157 grams of protein. I got a big day of carbs ahead of me, so best to start the day off with a workout. With my glycogen stores primed, I loaded up 64 grams of carbs into one giant fruit smoothie. This was basically pure sugar with 288 calories, 64 grams of carbs, and only 3.4 grams of protein. My lunch was leftovers, but this time I got to have some rice and a Coke for 979 calories, 128 grams of carbs, 31 grams of fat, and 46.4 grams of protein. Well, I had a pretty good day at work. Had to work a little bit late though, so I'm not gonna get a chance for a full run. I'm gonna head down to the park, do a little bit of something, but I am pumped up on carbs right now. Let's go put those to work. After a quick walk in the park to warm me up, I had a turbocharged workout, which only made me more excited for my massive carb dinner. 256 grams of carbs. That's my next meal. Started off with some beef and potatoes, and then treats to finish it off. The first 60 grams of carbs in mashed potatoes and pickled onions. Another 45 grams of carbs to go with this meal. Well, dinner was delicious, but I still have 150 grams of carbs to eat to hit my goal of 256. How am I gonna get that? With this. Rice cakes, 10 of them, and half a jar of jam. That will put me right at the top. This final meal was 1,725 calories with 256 grams of carbs, 55 grams of fat, and 61 grams of protein. Great way to finish off the night. I'm heading to bed. 512 grams in the morning. On day number 3, I ate 2,992 calories with 448 grams of carbs, 82 grams of fat, and 110 grams of protein. Well, this might end up being the world's sweetest breakfast. 512 grams of carbs. Let's do it. This might be one of the sweetest things I've ever drank. This smoothie alone, 200 grams of carbs. All right, that was a pretty massive breakfast, but not quite 512 grams of carbs, just over 300 grams. So for the final 200, I'm gonna have this pack of jelly snakes and this blue raspberry pop, and that'll put me exactly at 512 grams of carbs. This massive breakfast was almost pure sugar, with 2,219 calories, 512 grams of carbs, 14.8 grams of fat, and 18.2 grams of protein. Well, that was an insane amount of carbs to start the day with. I think I'm gonna skip lunch and double it for dinner. Well, work is all done, and 512 grams of carbs is a crazy way to start the day. Haven't eaten anything since breakfast, and I still feel like I have a ton of energy. And I honestly don't even really feel hungry. I've been thinking about this all day, and the only way I'm gonna be able to get 1,028 grams of carbs in me for my next meal is if I start early. So I'm gonna kind of have to break it up. So have a bunch of carbs now as a pre-workout meal, go work out, and then finish off whatever I have left for dinner. So as far as the one meals go, the doubling carbs ends at 512. I'm gonna start splitting it up, see if I can get another 1,028 by the end of the day. And tomorrow I'll try and double it again if I can successfully get that 1,000 in by the end of the day today. So let's kick off 1,028 grams of carbs
with a giant pre-workout sugar bomb. All right, I got this big stack of rice cakes with jam, my intro workout, which is electrolytes and 100 grams of sugar, and another pack of jelly snakes. This put me up at like 400 grams of carbs already pre-workout. So still leaves me 600 to crush after we finish.
This is where I started to discover the point of diminishing returns when it comes to carbs and performance. Carbs can really enhance a workout, but at this point, I was drowning in them.
All right, training was all good. Just finishing up these gummies. Got to pick up some more carbs because we got a lot more to eat tonight.
I started off by slugging back a liter of lemonade and then cut into over 2 kilos of watermelon. I continued snacking on dates, but I was starting to struggle.
The way my body's reacting to carbs this evening, it's way different than how it reacted this morning. The first 500, I had like wicked energy all day. The second 500, I'm crashing hard. And ever since I got over 1,000, I'm just getting drowsier and drowsier. Honestly, this afternoon, I didn't think I was gonna struggle this hard with it. After I finish this bowl of watermelon and dates, I'm still like 300 grams of carbs away from my goal. I'm gonna try, but it is not gonna be easy.
Everything I'm feeling here can be explained by circadian biology. This morning I ate carbs and felt sharp, focused, and energized. But now I'm eating the same carbs in the evening and I'm crashing. That's because in the morning, insulin sensitivity is at its highest, meaning your cells are extremely responsive to insulin, which is the hormone that helps move glucose from your blood into your muscles and liver. And that glucose gets stored as glycogen, which your body can quickly use for energy. But in the evening, melatonin rises to prepare your body for sleep. And melatonin and insulin have an inverse relationship. When melatonin is high, insulin sensitivity declines. Your body absorbs glucose more slowly, and excess sugar stays in your blood longer. This triggers larger insulin spikes and promotes fat storage instead of energy use. This is what contributes to post-meal fatigue, and it also reduces metabolic efficiency. So the exact same food has a different impact depending on the time of day. Morning carbs fuel performance, while evening carbs will put you to sleep and begin fat storage. Nutrition is way more complicated than just calories in and calories out.
Well, here we are. This gelato, a lot of carbs in this. I'm currently at like 700 grams of carbs. 300 left to go. Well, I'm at 859 grams of carbs, but I don't think I can do any more sugar. It's crazy, I'm getting like loopy from this. So much sugar. So close, yet so far. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. It's just making me like so drowsy. I'm calling it. I'm gonna crash hard. Give you my final thoughts when I'm a little more coherent. What a challenge. It's been sweet.
On day number 4, I did not get defeated by the carbs.
It's not the next morning. It's 30 minutes later. I'm back from the dead. Let's finish this.
This final meal was broken up over the course of about 5 hours with 4,333 calories, 1,024 grams of carbs, 22 grams of fat, and 37 grams of protein.
(1,024 grams of carbs. The challenge continues.
On day number 4, I ate 6,552 calories with 1,536 grams of carbs, 38 grams of fat, and 56 grams of protein.
Well, needless to say, I had a pretty rough sleep last night after slugging back all that sugar.
Let's see if I can do 2,048 grams of carbs in one day. I started off with a fruit smoothie and packed some sugar water, dates, and gummies for my day at work. I've already knocked out a good 250 carbs for breakfast. I've got a massive amount of carbs packed in here. It's gonna be a sweet day at work. At work, I had a coffee with sugar and just kept eating every source of carb that I came across. Well, these bags of sour gummy worms and jelly snakes are by far the easiest way to get carbs in. This whole bag is nearly 200 grams of carbs and goes down pretty easy. But I also have this 120 grams of dates. 2,000 grams of carbs in a day is a monumental task. Work's all done. Just gonna start digging into these sour gummy worms. Once I finish this pack, I still haven't even cracked 1,000 grams of carbs. 2,000 is looking like a long shot. Well, I'm pretty fed up with the sweet carbs. Time to switch to something a little bit saltier. 10 rice cakes, jam, let's do it. This day was already starting to feel more difficult than the previous, and my insulin sensitivity was declining fast. I was losing hope at this point. I went for a walk to start mobilizing some of those carbs, and then got right back into it. All right, well, I'm completely off the sweets now. I can't do any more of that at the moment. So I decided I'm gonna make some grilled cheese and tomato soup for dinner. And while I do that, I'm gonna have these rice crackers. Grilled cheese and tomato soup. Once we finish this, I'll be sitting with my drink. Once we finish this, we'll be sitting at 1,300 grams of carbs. So much better than the sweet stuff. I'm sick of the sweet stuff at this point. I literally put away like 80% of that loaf of bread. It was like 800 calories of bread. It was good, but I am ridiculously full right now. That's the thing, all the sweetness and the sugar, they don't really make you full, but you just get so sick of it after a while. Whereas like the carby stuff, like the bread and rice and stuff like that, I can keep eating that after I've gotten sick of the sugar, but that just makes me really full really quick. Just under 1,400 carbs for the day. The chances of me hitting 2,000 are looking real slim at this point. It's getting late and my goal of 2,000 grams of carbs is long gone. There's no way I'm hitting that. But I'm gonna pack down some more of this gelato, lemon lime gelato, see how close we can get. I am so done with this experiment. I'll check in tomorrow for my final thoughts. On day 5, I ate 6,689 calories with 1,436 grams of carbs, 74 grams of fat, and 102 grams of protein. Well, 1,400 grams of carbs seems to be my limit for a single day, even though I got more than that the previous day when I only split it up into 2 main meals. But anyways, I'm not a competitive eater. I do not like stuffing myself, so just wanted to see where the limits are for my body, what the effects were. It's kind of crazy, like I've always thought I had a sweet tooth, but it's insane actually just getting exhausted of eating sweet food and feeling utterly sick of it. It was basically just pure sugar all morning, and then in the afternoon I had to switch it up and get some more like starchy carbs, something salty, just to change it up. I was so sick of sweetness. Definitely an interesting experiment overall. I learned that I can in fact get sick of sweetness and that carbs give you a ton of energy. Thanks for watching.